Hello, I'm Leicester Police Chief Jim Hurley. I'd like to welcome you to this edition of Police Beat. During this edition of Police Beat, we will discuss the events that occurred in your Leicester Police Department leading up to today, October 21st, 2010, when we're taping this show. Let's talk first about house breaks. We had one house break over the past week, which is down significantly from what we had last week and the week before. You can see from the photo on your screen that this door was shouldered or kicked in, the door frame was shattered, and the individual entered the home and stole items. That scene was processed by detectives, and that investigation is ongoing. There was a second case of vandalism that occurred here in Leicester, and this one occurred over on Rawson Street where a window was broken. This was not a break-in. At this point, we don't feel it was in a random act. The window was broken and a specific item was placed inside the home. That investigation remains ongoing, and we believe we have a suspect in that case at this point in time. On Saturday, the 16th, a report of another case of vandalism on Manville Street came in, where a female reported that she had 3 tires on her car slashed and some other damage. She stated that she also had some scratches on her trunk. She wasn't home when it happened, and there was a suspect in that case. You can see from the photo on your screen that there's the driver's front tire that's flat, then the driver's passenger side tire that's flat, and then there's another flat tire on the other side. Last week we had some serious storm damage down on Locust Ave, and what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a minute and just look at some of the video that was taken by officers who initially responded to the scene. What you're seeing on the video is an overview taken from up on Locust Ave by Detective Al Samia. You can see that the tree came down and it damaged the motor vehicle that is underneath the tree, and as Detective Samia moves the camera across over towards the home, you can see some damage to the roof on the home. And all of us who are familiar with Locust Ave know that Locust Ave is very high up and those houses are set down on Route 9. So the back door of that home had an elevated walkway that came out of the second floor and went out over to Locust Ave, and you can see that that is also missing. And then down below you'll see some trees that have actually fallen into the driveway of one of the homes. Take a look at some still photos and you can see some of the things that you might have not picked up in the video. The next photo that you see on your screen is actually the vehicle underneath the tree up on Locust Ave, and that vehicle sustained serious damage. You can then see the still photo of the damage to the roof and side and gutters of the home. And then very interestingly, on the next one you see 2 question marks. The first one underneath the door is where the elevated walkway should be, and the second one is what is underneath the tree. So we go to a photo taken by Officer Derek Ruth down below, and you can see that there is actually a truck underneath that tree that sustained heavy damage down on the Route 9 level of Locust Ave. A 3-car motor vehicle accident occurred this week at Route 9 and McCarthy Ave. Happy to report there were no serious injuries, but as you can see, several of the vehicles had minor and extensive damage. The first vehicle, which was the lead vehicle, had minor damage to the rear end. The second vehicle sustained some heavy damage. You can see that the whole front end is buckled and the hood is buckled. There's probably several $1,000s worth of damage to that vehicle. And vehicle number 3 sustained minor damage to the front end. And like always, we ask, how did it happen? And this one is pretty straightforward. It appears that vehicle number 1 and 2 stopped. Vehicle number 3 was involved in a rear-end collision, pushing vehicle number 2 into vehicle number 1, and that is actually the officer's diagram that goes in with his registry report. We had a stolen bike. The bicycle was stolen from the town hall area. We were advised it's tan and cream in color. The pedals are marked with the letters GT on them. The grips don't fit correctly and have gems on them. It's a BMX style Harrow 4M bicycle. That should stand out pretty well, and we have a individual who would very much like to get that bike back. Scams, scams, and more scams. I received this report of Charles Taylor, who was looking for money. He's looking actually for the town employees. This came into the town to run money through their accounts. Given the tight budget constraints of the police department, while it is tempting, I think we'll pass. It's another what we call Nigerian 419 advanced fee fraud scam, and we just want to let all our viewers know that if you get one from a fax or an email from Charles Taylor, who is the son of a deposed dictator, please do not respond to it. Motor vehicle accident occurred at Paxton Street and Harborton Drive. Two-car motor vehicle accident. The first photo you see is the overall view of the scene where it occurred. Then you see vehicle number 1, the pickup truck, which has some front end damage and the hood is buckled. And then you can see vehicle number 2 has some extensive passenger side damage to the vehicle. And again, we asked how did it happen, and we have the officer's diagram from his accident report. Vehicle number 1 was the pickup truck making its way down Paxton Street when vehicle number 2 stopped for the flashing light and then went through it and collided with the pickup truck. We had a stolen truck bed cover. It was stolen off of Pleasant Street. If anybody happens to come across it or know who took it, the cover is black and still has the shocks on it to keep it open. It has a 3-inch crack on the right side along the edge near the cab. The crack was epoxied from beneath and it was painted black. The epoxy was, it fits a 2009 Dodge Ram quad cab, if you happen to come across it. Well, as I said many times before, this morning, Thursday morning, my phone rang at 2:30 a.m. And I know when the phone rings at 2:30 in the morning, it usually isn't for something good. And I was informed by Sergeant Paul DeRay, who was a shift supervisor, that a serious motor vehicle accident had occurred at Route 9 and Breezy Bend. As you can see from the first photo on your screen, that is a pickup truck that was traveling eastbound on Route 9, went across the road, struck 2 telephone poles. You can see it's extensively damaged. The operator was found outside of the vehicle by neighborhood residents who came outside to see if they could assist. The second view, which is kind of a reverse angle from the other side, you can see the extensive damage that this pickup truck sustained during the course of the accident. And off to the side, you can see the telephone pole that's shattered in half. This gentleman broke 2 telephone poles in half, caused the truck to flip over on its side, and while he sustained multiple injuries, he's very lucky that the telephone pole went in just behind the cab of the truck. You can see that's where the major damage is, right where the back windshield is on the truck. If it had been another foot or 2 forward, I seriously don't think that this was a survivable crash at that point if it had happened. We have some video that was taken by the officers at the scene. Let's take a look at it and just look at the extensive damage that's done to the poles and the vehicle. We contacted Officer Tom Moen, our representative on the Central Mass Law Enforcement Council Accident Reconstruction Team. He came out to the scene, he took the measurements, and he's doing a reconstruction. There is no doubt about it that speed is definitely a factor in this accident, and preliminary indications are that alcohol may have also been a factor in this accident.